forgot to unmute my mic. All right, let me just share my screen. Let me know if you can see that. Does that look good? Okay. All right, so welcome to week 11. I can't believe we're already at week 11. It seems like this class went by really fast. At least in my mind it did. But we're almost there. Just remember these last 2 weeks to keep posting in the discussion. Make sure you've got a post at least by Sunday and 2 replies by Wednesday. A couple of people in my section have not always had 2 replies. So just go back and double check on your grades that you've got those and that you've replied and that we keep those discussions moving. And then you're working on your technology integration projects. They're going to be due the end of this week. Keep working on your portfolios and take a look at your feedback from others. I had a couple of people in my class that did not receive feedback. Or if they received feedback, they were not able to see the feedback. So I just wanted to talk to you about this a little bit. So when I looked at our document where we put it all, which hopefully you can see this right now. Let me know if you can't. But you'll notice that the very last column was where you were to put your link for your peer review. So I highlighted in gray the ones that when they get clicked on, this is what happens. You'll go to that link and it will show that you need permission in order to see it and you request access. And sometimes when you click that request access, you don't get access. Like nobody sees that you were requesting access and you don't ever get access. So a couple of people had that, so they weren't able to see their review so that they can make the revisions. So if all of you, please, would just go in and double check if the link that you put in there is kind of gray like this, it means other people can't see your review, and you need to go in and put a clean link. And what that means, I'll go back to the slideshow. I put just a little snapshot here. When you go to get the shareable link, you want to choose the one that says anyone can view this link or anyone can edit this link. You can change it right here to view or edit, but it needs to be anyone because we're all from different school districts. We're not on each other's platforms. So if you change it to anyone, then for sure the person that you've reviewed can see the review that you did on them and look at the notes and be able to make their revisions. There were 7 people I noticed on our sheet that didn't have a review. So there was no link out to the side of their name, like Austin here, Jamie. So there were 7 people that didn't have a review. But I also noticed in my class that there were 2 people that hadn't done their review yet. So if you haven't done your review, please get it done ASAP so that those people can have some feedback to revise their portfolio on. That's really helpful to do that. So if everyone will just go in and double check, you might have to go back to week 8 to jump into this document. Remember the one that says use this one, that's the correct one, that's the one you want to go to, and just double check that your link is a clean link and that if you didn't review somebody, that you've gone in and reviewed somebody and tried, if you haven't done it yet, pick somebody who hasn't had a review and get that done for them. Okay, hopefully that covered it all. Does anybody have questions on that? You can type it in the chat or unmute your mic if you have a question. Okay, I'm not hearing anybody and I'm not seeing anything in the chat, so I'm assuming we're all good on that, so I will move on. But if you do have a question, please get it in the chat or unmute your mic. Okay, I just saw this quote and I liked it. Aim for the sky, but move slowly, enjoying every step along the way. It is all those little steps that make the journey complete, and I really liked that. That's kind of something I've been trying to do lately. I feel like I've been going so fast and there's been so much to do, and I really just want to enjoy the journey that I'm taking right now. So I really liked this, and it's also just a reflection on that it's spring, and I'm just enjoying that it's beautiful outside. So, okay, and then just another thought on where you're at with your ETEP requirements for this endorsement. Coming up on April 1st, I think it is, UEN will have open the catalog to register for courses. So if you are going to take a course for this summer, I know Brandon and I will be teaching the next one, which is IELE 5020. Tony's not sure yet if he will be that person teaching it as well or not, so we're not sure on the other instructors, but just know that that catalog will be opening soon. And then I think Brandon does the same thing, but I send out to all of the people that are involved in Davis School District the link that you click on to directly register so that you're in my section. But I think we've got that all worked out. It's a new catalog, so just know there's going to be a little bit new look when you go in to register for classes, but I think you'll like it. It looks like it's an easier way to register. Okay, so anyway.
Carol, can I just add something?
Absolutely.
Right there. Like your course, mine is a private listing as well. But if there's anybody who does not get in to the 5020 class in the summer and you would like to get in, just send me an email and I can send you the link. It does fill up fast, and I would hate people who get off track or getting their endorsement, and I'll be happy to help you because my numbers aren't as high as they have been in the past, so I can take a few more.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I can take a few more. So if you end up getting in or not getting in, you're on a wait list, then just send me an email if you're in Davis School District. So same kind of thing, and we can probably get you in so you're not off track if you're trying to do them all in a row and get through all of the classes. Okay, thanks, Brandon, for that. Okay, let's go ahead and do our presentations first, and then I'll go through kind of what the rest of this week will be like. So we're starting tonight with Element 36, Understanding Students' Interests and Backgrounds. And I'm pretty sure I got an email from both Colleen and Heather saying that they weren't going to be able to attend tonight. And so I'm just going to play theirs from here. And I can't remember who to start with, so we're just going to start with Colleen, and then we'll go to Heather's.
Hi everyone, we are discussing Understanding Students' Interests and Backgrounds, Element 36. This voice you hear is Colleen Guerrero, and
this is Heather Amato.
We have 3 strategies that are discussed in this element, and they are student background survey, individual student learning goals, and commenting on student achievements or areas of importance. So the next few slides will go in depth on what each of those bullet points are.
Okay, so creating student background surveys, they just help you gain more information about students. Some of the things that you may have heard of are things like Google Forms that most teachers are using nowadays, and so it just helps you collect more information like what are their hobbies, some of their interests, that you can get them to become not only get to know them, but also become familiar with Google and the way that it works at the beginning of the year. So this is like done within your first week of class. So we also put down some other ideas like clickers. You can use SurveyMonkey and using digital cameras if you are feeling good.
The next one is individual student learning goals. In the article, it says when students are making connections to teachers, they can identify their own learning goal and be able to be more successful with that. A couple of sentence starters that they suggested were, when this unit is completed, I will better understand, and they fill in the blank, or when this unit is completed, I will be able to, and fill in that spot with what they are going to be successful at. In integrating technology into this, some ideas were to type a reflective journal, and you can utilize the Google Drive or Google Docs. Audio or visual recordings that students are allowed to reflect on their learning that takes place. and in their recordings they would suggest things like struggles they're having or things they're understanding or questions they might have, and that gives you the guidance as a teacher to help them address that later on.
Okay, and then moving on to commenting on student achievements or areas of importance. We feel like building that relationship with students is important. Before they can trust you and listen to what you have to say, you kind of have to give a little bit to them. And so gaining that background knowledge, like things that they do after school or important events that are going on in their lives, like weddings or getting a new sibling, taking interest in those types of things, builds that foundation that you need to build that the student-teacher relationship. Also, family structure, knowing what's going on at home kind of gives you some background about the student and who they are. These are, again, a couple of things that you can be looking for at the beginning of the school year. We also included an Edmodo tutorial link, and this is a type of technology that's similar to Facebook, but it's kind of one for your classroom, and it's individualized to where students create profiles where they can upload things like soccer games and or things that are going on in their family, and it's kind of this your own little social media group. When you're going through this, you could also teach things like digital citizenship and how to leave appropriate comments. So it's all going back to this whole idea of using technology in your classroom. So check that out when you have time.
All right, hope you had some ideas from us today. If you want, we can share this presentation. You can click on that Edmodo tutorial link. But thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was excellent. Thank you, Colleen and Heather. Joe, I think, is on our call. So, Joe, did you want to go ahead and do it, or do you want me to show it from here?
Actually, it'd probably work best if you show Monica's first, and then
Okay.
and then if I can show my slide with me controlling it, that would be best.
Perfect. All right, so we'll go with Monica, and then Joe, I'll turn it over to you when Monica's is done.
Hi everyone, my name is Monica McCracken, and I'm presenting on using verbal behaviors to indicate affection for students. In this presentation, I'd like to talk about the importance of verbal behaviors, different strategies, and then just getting practical with it. First things first, what are verbal behaviors? They can be spoken or written, and they are words from the teacher to the student, and they are usually very encouraging words and even lighthearted and informal ones. So, why are verbal behaviors important? Now, my partner is going to be talking about nonverbal behaviors, and those are super important too, but some students cannot pick up on nonverbals. And if we don't give them some verbal affirmation, how are they going to know that we care? I also think it's very important because many students will not get verbal affirmation at home, and we may be the only ones giving it to them. Our text referenced informal conferences. I think these are great ways to start using verbal behaviors with students. They're basically short conversations one-on-one. In a technology-infused classroom, you can definitely have informal conferences in a variety of ways. Our text mentioned using class website, using emails and text to parents talking about good things their students have done, and even taking pictures of their students in action doing good things. To get practical and personal with this, I thought about for myself, I use Canvas. I teach high school English, and when I grade, it's really easy to post a written audio or video comment to encourage my students and let them know that I think they've done a great job. Now, there's a lot more I could say about this topic, but I feel that this quote wraps it up really well. I'm sure you've seen it before. I've learned that people will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. I don't know about you, but I would love my students to go away with this feeling after being in my class, either from words that I've said right from my mouth or from things they've gotten from me on technology. And that is why verbal affirmations are so important for our students. Thank you so much for listening.
All right, that was excellent. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now so that Joe can pick up the screen and You can take it away, Joe. If you got the share button.
It looks like you still have the bubble.
Okay, give it a second. Maybe it'll pop up for you. You should be able to see it across the bottom if you move your mouse across where you got
Okay. Yep. I
the
see
arrow
it.
pointing up.
Yep. I got
Great.
it.
You're on.
Can everyone see that? Okay. All right, so I was asked to talk a little bit about using nonverbal behaviors to indicate affection for students. And so the first one that I just wanted to make sure that we all thought a little bit about is how we use our face to communicate with our students. Not necessarily emojis, but actually our facial expressions that we use in the classroom say a lot about how we feel, about what is going on in our classroom, about ourselves, about the other students in the classroom. Everything is communicated through our face, and so we just need to be really aware of that. The text talked about using photo bulletin boards as a way of using nonverbal communication to express affection for students, and so I'm just going to give you some examples. The first one is letting students introduce themselves in nonverbal ways. And the previous presenters talked a little bit about this as well, but I think it goes hand in hand. So I think all of us have probably seen these All About Me posters posted in elementary schools. Here's one that maybe could be used with a little bit older students. And then this one I found, a newspaper basically about the person with a lot of variety of information, a lot of variety to give students the opportunity to express themselves and introduce themselves. Here's another way that they can non-verbally introduce themselves, and if you post these up in your classroom, that's a way of showing that you have affection for your students. One of the ones that I liked here, as you can see that down at the bottom, they are adding to this bulletin board throughout the year, and that was one of the recommendations that was in our text, is to add to it throughout the year. And up here at the top is things that the students like. I thought that was a good idea. Here's one that you could put outside in the hallway. So I think it says one thing to show work inside your classroom, and I think it shows another level of affection and respect to show it out in the hallway for the whole school community to look at. Another idea that I saw was having students guess who the other students are. If you're showing that you believe that they're important and that you want them to get to know each other, I think that is demonstrating affection. So here's maybe some EdTech integration ways of doing those kind of things. There's Google presentations where the students could do a Google slide deck about them instead of doing it on paper. And then I also found that this is, I think, is in Teachers Pay Teachers, but a variety of interactive digital activities in Google Slides using Google Forms and other things for the students to introduce themselves to the class and to you. Student recognition is another way that you demonstrate that you have affection for your students. And some ideas that maybe you are familiar with already, but are kind of traditional: Student of the Month, putting up a photo bulletin board of Student of the Month. This one you can see that they change it every month to have a monthly theme, which I think anytime we're showing effort, and obviously it takes effort to update things on a regular basis, that demonstrates that we care about the students and we care about what they are doing. You can have it theme-based, like, for example, leaders in the classroom, and you could change that throughout. I thought this was a great idea, calling it a brag board and having students be able to share their work And then I also like this one, naming the bulletin board the fridge, like the parents' fridge at home, and letting the students choose all different kinds of work that demonstrates their abilities and their skills and things that they thought they did well on. I thought that was a great idea. Here's another one, especially maybe if you're in elementary school, to create a fine art gallery on one of the walls of your classroom and put a frame up and call it the art gallery, and every so often change that. Again, to integrate ed tech, you could think about doing Student of the Month on a blog or on the website. Obviously, you have to be careful with privacy concerns and student information, but if you have a release, you can do those kind of things. Another idea that I had is digital badging is a good way to tell students that they've done a great job. And so whether you're using Canvas or some other LMS, presenting students with digital badges, recognizing what they are doing in the classroom will convey your affection for them. Another thought I had is, I think this could be elementary, but it could be also in the upper grades, is if you took pictures or scanned the student's work and used that as your desktop or as your screensaver on your computer. I think students would really feel that you were valuing what they did if they saw their artwork on your computer screen, either in transition when it's up on the projector and the whole class sees it, or just if it's asleep on your desk and they saw different students' artwork or any type of work shuffling through. One other way that I thought you could integrate technology and have as kind of a photo bulletin board was to use Jamboard. Probably all of you know that Jamboard has been added by Google to the core products now, and so everyone has free access to that. And so you could share a Jamboard with the whole class and not only highlight student work on a periodic basis, you could share things like, have you seen this TED Talk? To let them know that you're thinking about them as you're watching things that interest you. You could put pictures up from basketball games or from the most recent school play. You could put little reminders about don't forget that there's a test coming up this week. Maybe post some things that didn't get a name on them if you wanted to give them another chance. So just a way to communicate that you're thinking about them and caring about them. You could have this up as students enter the classroom each day, or you could share it out to them so that they could access it on their own. You could do it so that they could add to it, or you can have it so they can just view it. And finally, I don't know if all of you have seen this before or not, but here is a great nonverbal way to convey affection for students. So obviously Mr. White has a specific handshake for every single student as they enter the classroom every day. It's nonverbal, but it is a way that he conveys his affection for his students. And that's it.
Excellent. No, thank you so much. That was fabulous. And I love what, and I'm going to say it wrong again, I'm just going to say Lonnie, put in their chat that she had a friend that made student work into a t-shirt that she wore. So that's another great
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
Love it. Okay, thank you, Joe. All right. Next is element 38, displaying objectivity and control, and I have from Kelly Blackman, maybe? I might have said it wrong, I'm sorry about that. Okay, here we go.
All right, element 38 is displaying objectivity and control. This involves the teacher behaving in ways that indicate he or she does not take infractions personally. And there are 2 strategies associated with this element. The first is self-reflection. The teacher should reflect on his or her practices daily, and the reflection should include procedures and their effectiveness, and the consistency in applying consequences or acknowledging adherence to rules or procedures. Some questions to consider when self-reflecting are, did I accurately acknowledge students who followed the rules and procedures? Did I accurately apply consequences for students who did not? Did I respond to every opportunity to acknowledge adherence or lack of adherence to the rules and procedures? And did I strike a balance between no-nonsense and nurturing attitudes? A self-reflection digital aid could be the use of a camera of some kind to record interaction with students. Teachers could then view and reflect based on the recordings, share with colleagues for feedback, and use the recordings to track progress towards professional goals. Could also create a digital journal on Google Drive or somewhere else on the cloud, where you could record reflections about your teaching, self-assess strengths and weaknesses, and establish goals and track them. The second strategy is maintaining a cool exterior. When conflicts arise in the classroom, the teacher needs to stay calm and collected. They need to maintain a cool exterior. This can be done when a teacher uses assertive body language, self-monitors facial expressions, speaks in a calm and respectful tone of voice, actively listens to reasonable explanations, and avoids engagement with students who argue, deny, or blame others for their conduct. When maintaining a cool exterior with technology, teachers need to choose their words wisely as they communicate with students and parents about behaviors in emails and texts. When commenting on a student's website, teachers need to always show objectivity and control and use these opportunities to show separation between students and their behaviors. Another way to use technology to help with maintaining a cool exterior is to use random group generators and polling techniques in the classroom. This will help create objectivity in the classroom and let students anonymously respond to questions.
All right. Okay, so on tap for next week is elements 39, 40, and 41. So Heather, Lorraine, Ashley, Allison, Sandra, Jessica, Marcy. If you guys will be ready to go for next week, that'll be great. I thought I saw in the chat a question about some elements that we had from a couple of weeks ago and then last week that maybe didn't get in. So we'll make sure that we have those and that we've graded those. So if Tony and Brandon, if you'll kind of take a look as well from people from your classes to make sure we got all of those, because I know for a couple of weeks we had a couple of missing just based on things that are circumstances. So we'll make sure that we've got those and make sure that we've given you credit for having done those elements and that we put those links in so that people can still watch those element presentations. Okay, any questions for any of our presenters on things that they presented? I'm just continually impressed with the ideas and the things that you share, and that was excellent. So thank you everybody who participated today. Those were fabulous. And like I said, up to now, all of them have just been really excellent. So good job. All right, don't see anything in the chat, haven't heard anything, so we'll move on. So this week, you're finishing up your technology integration project. So these are the items that go along with that. You'll want to make sure that you've taken a look very closely at all of the requirements, make sure you have fulfilled everything. And so that includes that you did your plan and your goal, that you did your implementation, and that implementation includes an outline or a timeline, that you've got linked to the tech tools you might have used, you've collected artifacts and student samples. You have an asynchronous presentation, which is like creating a video or narrated PowerPoint or something that just talks us through your whole presentation. and you also need a written reflection. And all of those particulars are in the Week 11 Technology Integration Project assignment. So make sure you've looked through those and that you've completed all of those. If you have questions, please ask your instructors, or you can ask us tonight right now as well. Your final portfolio will be due next week at the end of week 12. You want to make sure that you've got the video of your philosophy, that you've got your artifacts and samples from your tech project that you've chosen to include, and include those reflections that go along with those. You need a transformation statement, which is your course reflection, and then a presentation of your learning journey as you've gone through this class and your other classes, and then any other course work that you want to include on your final portfolio. And hopefully you've gotten some good feedback from the reviews that you can incorporate into your portfolio. Okay, so if you have any questions, speak up or type it in the chat for those things. This week your reading is Chapter 10, and that's on Communicating High Expectations, elements 39 through 41, and we'll hear those presentations next week. The discussion is on teaching and learning technology with music, art, and PE. And so there's a few questions there that you're going to be thinking about. So when a student seems to be having a tough day, how might a teacher use technology to privately communicate with that student to know, so that they know they're valued within the class? And Joe shared a lot of great ideas tonight of ways that we can do that, but even thinking privately how we can do that and help our students. Why are Think, Pair, Share exercises really helpful for our low expectancy students? And how can doing Think, Pair, Share exercises be enhanced with technology? So think about that. What are some ways that you can incorporate and integrate technology in an effective manner with Think, Pair, Share exercises? And then how can technology help teachers ask challenging questions of your low expectancy students? Because we often will ask the high expectancy students because we know they know the answer, right? So how can we use technology to do that? And I think we've heard that in elements previous as well, some great ideas on how we can do that. So think through those as part of our discussion. And just for fun, because part of the discussion talks about real versus fake. And so I put a link here of something I found. You can do it if you want to, but what this is, this real or PS link that's on the presentation, it takes you to a little quiz. So you can guess, was this a real photo or was it a photoshopped photo? So it's just for fun. But the article that you read on real versus fake, I thought was very, very interesting, and I think will make for a really good discussion this week. So read that article and put your thoughts out there on how technology can impact how we see and understand what we see when we're on technology or on the internet or on social media or other places like that. Okay, and then your assignment, just get your technology integration project in by the end of this week and keep working on your portfolio. Okay, I didn't see any questions come into the chat. Are there any questions to this point from anybody? Okay, I'm not hearing anybody. Go ahead and jump in if you have them. We want to make sure that everything is turned in no later than April 3rd, and I think I do have the date correct this time. I think the time before I didn't have it right. So, and there's no exceptions. This is a due date set by UEN. It's not something we can change. It just, everything has to be in by then. I know some people have spring break during this time, so pay attention to that so that you can plan out ahead of time so that you're not getting anything in late. After April 3rd. It needs to be all in. If you have any questions, just reach out to us. Here's our information. And this is included here. And that brings us to the end of this week. So have a fabulous, wonderful week. And again, let us know if you have any questions or you need help with anything. Go back and check your grades. Make sure you've got everything in that you need to. If there was anything missing, go back and get it done. And then let us know that you did so that we can change your score and make sure that you get the grade that you would like out of this class. Okay, anything else? Tony or Brandon, do you have anything else?
I don't.
I'm a happy camper. Life is good. Great presentation. Thanks so much, Carol. We appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining in tonight. We always like it when we have people we can talk to and not just each other. So, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.
See you.
Happy spring now, finally, officially.
Yes, yay.